All right, location. As said, location is a little bit because we don't have activities for that. So, I mean, this is something. It's a little bit of different concept to work with. Of course, like a location could be created, but in the system. But that's not true, what I just said. Of course, location can have activities. So location can be viewed because all the time when you look into a list or a specific object, you look into this kind of location. It can be clicked, and of course it can be booked. So here again, so we definitely have, let's say, these kind of events can be triggered at the same place, like for the list viewed events and so on. But here the context is like the important thing. And so location ID, and this can also like be a let's say make up a ID of country, region, city. So, but just that you have one unique identifier, and then of course like you have location, city, region. I think region is something which is really important for Airbnb. Country, continent. And so this, for example, location is this classic example that if you cannot really, let's say, so it's always like the question, at least today, is really like, where do I have this kind, or where do I put these information into some kind of system? And so you could do it at the time when the data is tracked, but it can also be something that it's been enriched later, so that you have an analysis system maybe in your own database, or maybe you even use Amplitude, Mixpanel, or Postdoc that you enrich data later, and you just merge data into it. So you just track the location ID, and then you later populate all the different kind of properties in a batch job. And so this is always like a it depends on what kind of setup you have. If you already have a setup where you work a lot with, let's say, enrichment later on, then it's a natural thing that you usually keep the things that, let's say, when the event is happening, you keep them very lean, and then you have these huge enrichment pipeline later on. And I think, like, especially if you have a more matured setup, it's often like the case that you have like this. If you start out, you often really just like track everything at the place where it's happening already. And so, of course, this is like a natural thing to extend it later.